Okay, so got to thinking as I was preparing for tonight. God, a knucklehead. I missed an important thing last week. If you remember last week, I said the simplest way to be leaders is to do these things. We did the good trait exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do the opposite of that.
Whoops.
Bad traits of leaders. Because part of being successful is not only knowing what's good, but avoiding what's bad. I don't know why I missed that last week. So, and bro, I don't know why I never thought of it until I was doing it tonight. So, I've got a background in basketball coaching. One of the first things you learn as a coach is you're trying to do things as much to not lose as you're trying to do things to win. So it's kind of that mindset with it. So that was one part of it. And then the next thing I want to tackle with you guys, and you each have markers, so I'd like for you to think about it, go up there and write on the board, is what your biggest worry or maybe your two biggest worries about leadership are. Because it's gonna, I think as we get through going through the 6 C's, you'll find tools to help you deal with the worries in leadership. So, one that I have is, it's not a fear of conflict, but I like to avoid it as much as possible. So, if I set up expectations on the front end and trying to be clear with that, it's more about trying to be proactive in my mind with things than being reactive to it. So, if you guys want to get up to the board, write down bad traits of leaders, and just start thinking about your biggest worry about leadership and then writing that down. Another way to think about the bad traits is the core values that you guys talked about last week. Maybe the opposite of that.
I don't know where the sun is going. Always in control of. That sounds so weird, but what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I get it.
Basketball.
Yeah, that's enough.
I think so too.
Yeah.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5. First workshop perfect, right?
Yeah.
Couple more minutes, guys. Maybe 1 minute.
I'm just not getting ready to start.
Okay, so bad traits. Irresponsible. So that shows up once. Unhelpful, overbearing, aggressive, negative attitude.
That shows up.
Words are important. I always like to know what people mean by words. So, Ian, what do you mean by aggressive?
Like, I guess I'd say it kind of goes with overbearing, with not attacking someone, but helping someone, say.
What's an example of that? Do you have
Not off the top of my head, I got
negative attitude? Unknowledgeable,
Does not want to be at work.
does not want to be work, negative attitude. Disrespectful, always in control of everything. Now, when I read that, I can take it two different ways.
Okay.
I can think in control emotionally, which I wouldn't think is a bad thing,
No.
but I think you meant something different by it.
Yeah.
So what did you mean by it?
So like, basically, kind of like when you're given a task and you just take over everything from everybody else and not worrying about what their input is or anything like that.
That's it. Okay. Not approachable, untrustworthy, unorganized. Those are all good ones. Those are all good ones. And again, if you can avoid those things, it sets you up. Yeah, I would say, I was thinking dishonest, but I see untrustworthy up there now. What about takes credit for others' work?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. I was just talking to Doug Curry and Mike Garnos this afternoon, and there's an author named Patrick Lencioni. He's come out with a new book about what makes great teammates. And it's kind of in this realm because I think to be a good leader, you need to be a good teammate. He's focused on three things that he uses to rate people on how they are as a teammate. Are they hungry? Are they humble? And are they smart? And usually 2 out of 3 is good. If it's less than 2, you want to stay away from having that person on your team. But if you can have someone that exhibits strong traits in 3 out of 3, hunger has nothing to do with diet. It's about wanting to learn more, always wanting to make things better. Humble is coachable, listens, doesn't think their way is always the best way. Things of that nature. And then the smart part is just knows their job. They have a sense of what to do. They're skilled. So I thought it was very interesting. If you take the opposite of those things, the opposite of humble is arrogant. The opposite of hungry is what? That's not the opposite of hungry. It's not starving. It's what?
Not motivated.
Unmotivated.
Unmotivated, or they're satisfied. It's not that things are going poorly necessarily. It's just it's that phrase, well, we've always done it this way. Wow.
To try something new.
Wow. It may not be a broke situation, but if you just look at is there anything in your life that just always stays the same? I would think by and large is always just little tweaks here and there. So that's a great list, and this is not part of that, right? All right. So biggest worry with leadership. Ian, yours is making advice helpful. What does that mean?
I just feel like I'm really bad at explaining things.
Okay.
Like putting it in words from what I think how something should go.
So, and maybe we'll talk about that more. I think there's some ways you can cope with that as you then build comfort level from there. So, trying to make everyone happy without hurting feelings. There's only one way. There's only one way you can make sure that never happens.
How's that?
Do nothing. That's it. You're always gonna.
Hurt someone's feelings.
There's always there's a term that's thrown around, haters,
Gotcha.
and it's when you see it all the time when there's someone that's a huge success. There's always someone that's just, oh, that person's awful. Da, 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 da. So there's always, not that feelings aren't important, but sometimes people have other things going on in their life, and it's nothing to do
Nothing to do with you or.
with you.
Okay.
And again, I think as we go through talking about 6C, if you're doing this, this, and this, and this, laying out expectations and how we're going to accomplish it. If you're by and large making the vast majority of people happy, satisfied, understanding of the process, that's probably the best you can get. Your dad's coached for a long time. He's probably never had a season where every athlete was completely happy. But he was coaching everyone, not the same, but in a similar fashion. You know, he had expectations. He was trying to make them better, but you know, no one succeeds 100% with that. Failing as a leader, having to gain everyone's trust again. So I could
Those
see.
kind of go hand in hand a little bit.
Yeah, well, I could read that as a couple ways, McKinley. So, I could view one hand of it being an integrity issue, and that's pretty avoidable if you have the core values that you talked about, and you live those in. Try and do the best you can from an integrity standpoint. If you fail, and then I think failure is a word that people have a lot of different thoughts about. And on one hand, if you failed because you didn't prepare, you didn't train, you didn't do the things that you know you should have done, that's probably where you have a trust issue. If it's not an integrity thing, but there was just some lacking of effort in something that didn't pull off. But let's say you do all those things and it still bombs. I think in both cases, if let's say there's a failure, what would you guys want to have a leader do if there was a failure?
Admit to it and try to get it right.
There's power in owning it. There really is. I'm glad you recognize that. Because I was thinking, as we go back to the bad traits part, is have you ever known someone that it's always someone else's fault and they never take responsibility for it? Well, I think there's great strength in leaders owning up to it and just saying, yep. Even if it was some other external thing that caused it, yep, I screwed up. We'll do better next time. What are the things we did well? What are the things we can learn from? How can we make it better next time? And I think you're right. And we're generally forgiving as human beings if people own it. If they don't, that's when the resentment causes and the resentment happens. And
Richard's refer.
Ian, we told Ian this, we told him this, we told him this, they failed, and now he's blaming everyone else. That causes resentment. Ian owns up and says, McKinley and Ron, you guys are really smart. I should have listened to you. And I'll do better next time. It helps us get on to the next scenario. So those are good things to talk about as we're going into the next thing I want to talk about. And again, as I reflected back on what we talked about last week, we were talking about energy, and I forgot to discuss something really important about energy. Sleep. Right? How the heck did I miss sleep? McKinley, you should have reminded me on that. I see him blaming you, and now you're ticked off at me. So, no, it's my fault. I even have it in my notes right here, sleep. So I don't know how I missed it, but people are different. But I think the general consensus is you need at least 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep every night. Now, there's times where you can deviate from that, but it better not be an ongoing thing. But 6 hours is good. I'm a big believer in naps when you can do it, with this caveat. Don't sleep more than 15 or 20 minutes. What happens when you sleep for 2 hours? When you take a 2-hour nap in the middle of the afternoon? What do you feel like when you wake up?
Tired.
You feel worse. And it doesn't make any sense. You got 2 hours of sleep, you should feel great. But you're groggy, and you probably just want to stay in bed again. You know, just roll back over and go back to sleep. Well, what happens is, and I'm not a scientist by any stretch, is when your brain, after about 15 minutes, your brain starts going into REM sleep. So, and then deep sleep beyond that. That's why you wake up groggy. But a couple of my favorite techniques is I'll sit in a chair like this, and I can fall asleep. As soon as my head does this, I just wake up. I just get up and go. Or if I'm going to be laying down, I set an alarm for it, and I set it right at the beginning. I don't fall asleep and then set the alarm. That doesn't work. I set the alarm, lay down, and then after about 15, 20 minutes, get back up. So there's just something about if your brain doesn't get into that REM, deep stage sleep, that you wake up feeling more fresh and just pop up and you get back and go. So I'm a big believer in naps whenever you can do them. Most successful people take naps in the early afternoon. If you can do it, I think it's better than drinking coffee or caffeinated drink of any sort. It's a great energy booster, but don't do it for too long. But sleep's important, and I think another challenge with sleep is being consistent with it. Do either of you ever go to bed at the same time every night? Get up at about the same time?
I try to.
Yeah, I get up at about the same time, but I don't normally fall asleep exactly the same time.
Falling asleep's a little bit harder because of homework and I still wake up at like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah. So, a couple of things with that. I can't tell you it's ever going to get better. Especially if you have kids, especially if you have young kids and you have to get up in the middle of the night and feed them when they start screaming for you, whatever the case might be. But I think the key point is if you can get up fairly close to the same time every day, studies have shown that that's a good thing. Your body's trained for that. So my body's generally trained for between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. So I kind of float around those edges a little bit, but that's generally where I'm at. A lot of times I get up at 4 o'clock even before my alarm goes off. So that's an important part about sleep. And just trying to capture as much of it as you can. If you can get the 6 hours continuous, that's a good thing. And again, just listen to your body and be aware of it. Because you're just not as effective if you're losing sleep. Is this late for you right now?
Not late, but not like early.
Yeah. In about another hour, I'd be toast. So when I close, I'm pretty much sleepwalking the last couple hours. That's a bad thing.
Your little 15-minute naps.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I do before I come to work in the morning. So that's a tough one. Not related to sleep, but energy level is. Have you guys ever thought about what's your most peak time of energy?
In the day.
Yeah, when you're awake, when do you feel the most energetic, you get the most accomplished? Do you have a time block?
Probably like 9 to noon.
Right, yeah.
I would say like around
Mine's about 5:30 to noon. I'm not worthless, but I'm not as energetic from about 12 to 2. And then it picks up to about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And a lot of mine, I don't know how yours is, a lot of mine is dictated by daylight. And that's a pretty common thing. Still, throughout much of history, we didn't have light, except for sunlight. So human beings, when it was dark, they slept. Thomas Edison, genius, making the light bulb. So light bulb kind of threw things off in that regard, although it's made people more productive in a lot of other cases. So that's good that you've identified peak time of energy, because that's when you can get some good things done. Another thought about energy and managing your day is if you could do something big, right when you get up, a big project, something big that helps you, it builds this momentum that carries you through the rest of the day. So, a common routine for me is doing push-ups, sit-ups, and I walk the dogs in the morning. And if I do 100, and I walk the dogs, and I don't just walk the dogs, but I'm doing different leg exercises when I'm walking. Sometimes I'm doing this, sometimes I'm doing high knees, sometimes I'm rotating my hips. But just different, I call it dynamic walking, but just, if I do all those things, I have energy as I'm, and then when I'm just walking regular, I'm walking really fast. So trying to get things going. So if you can build that momentum at the beginning of your day, that's a really good thing to get. And studies have shown that just kind of sustains you through your energy. In your cross-country career, did you feel good after you ran a race? Did you feel a surge of energy, or did you?
Yeah, I know I liked the morning races more than like the ones after school, because the ones after school just were never great.
But people talk about runner's highs. And I don't know if you experience it. A lot of people, after just the accomplishment of running that kind of a cross-country race, that's a hard thing to do. Going all out as hard as you can for 3.2 miles.
Something like that.
So, however tired your body might be, you get the surge of energy from accomplishment. And a lot of people get that. They get things done. And they feel. I remember when I was a college student, I always thought, as I was bad at procrastinating, and I would do papers until the last minute. And email was just coming out, so a lot of times we sort of dropped it off. So you had to you couldn't do it right up until it was due. You had to give yourself about 10 minutes to get over to the office. So I just remember, just thinking, I worked on this paper. I should be tired, but I felt so good about getting it done that I couldn't keep it down. Yeah, I felt energized about it. So find those things that get you moving and keep you going and helps you build that momentum. So morning routine, there's been a lot of studies about if you can be consistent with the wake up, do something to get that momentum going, eat healthy, it's gonna be good things for you. Yeah. I think you guys have a unique experience with this. In terms of exercise and movement itself, a lot of the studies are tilting toward now interval training, doing quick bursts. It's not running 10 miles. It's not swimming 5 miles. It's going as hard as you can, taking a break, going as hard as you can, taking a break. Now, there's value in different things, and people like those activities, but in terms of building energy, building up cardio, fitness, that's where the studies are tilting right now. As you go hard for a short burst, short recovery, go hard for a short burst, short recovery. And then strength training. resistance training, whatever you could do to do some kind of resistance when you're exercising is beneficial. That, not that it applies to you, but especially women, as they get older and older, they can have problems with the bone density. But guys with that too, they need to be building, working on muscle and building resistance. Certainly on the guy's side, that helps with testosterone, and that helps with energy and those kind of things. So, something that I started doing a number of years ago is, and I don't watch a lot of TV, but when commercials are on, just do push-ups and sit-ups. That's the point of a commercial anyway. So it's either you can sit and do this, or you can do something useful. So try to do different things that can build resistance as much as you can, because that helps maintain muscle tone, and that's good for posture. That's good for keeping energy levels. That's good for doing work when you've got to lift things and stuff. So those were some things about energy that I didn't really get a chance to talk about last week. So. Something I want you to think about is, so we're going on to the second E, which is expectations. And while you can't mitigate everything 100%, again, each of you have awareness about some worries that you have from a leadership standpoint. So I think that's important to help you from an expectation piece. Something that's always driven me is I don't want my team to look bad in the public, whatever that means. So in my world here for a long time, it was the customer service staff. I wanted the staff to be friendly. I wanted them to be knowledgeable. I wanted them to talk to customers. And if customers would ask questions and staff didn't know how to answer, and the customer was just kind of left with that drove me to not want that, not to want that to happen, and to make it better. So that was just a broad expectation I had. Is that it's obviously a reflection on leadership when things are performing well. It wasn't about, well, I just want myself to look good. I want McKinley to look good for the customer because I've trained him in a way that the customer recognizes his value. Ian can answer a question. That customer's going to walk away and say, that Ian is a smart guy. I'm going to look to deal with him the next time I'm here. So, setting expectations. We got a big piece of it out of the way when we talked last week about core values, because I think you build off your core values when you're looking to set expectations, and it's a very general thought, but where do you want the bar for your team? Do you want it here? Do you want it here? Or do you want it up here? The leaders drive that. The leaders generally will get within the capabilities of their team the performance that they expect and lay out for their team. That's just the way it is. And if your expectation is, I just hope staff show up to work, and if they do that, I'm happy, and I'm not going to train them in anything else, well, maybe you'll get that. But that's what you get. Unless you've got a few people that look to go above and beyond. But they're not unicorns, but if you're not building an environment like that, it's going to be a rare thing. And those unicorns, at some point, are going to get burned out, and they're going to leave, and you're going to be back at square one. Or they're going to get so frustrated, they're just going to go back to the level of the general expectation. So setting the bar is so important. So within that, these are some areas that I want you guys to think about. how you want to set expectations. So, in your relationships, what's your expectation? How people interact with you. Health. What do you expect from yourself from a health standpoint? So, something I'm proud of in it, but I'm also, it's my expectation is I've got close to the same waist size as I did in high school. I'm wearing the same waist size pants that I did in high school. So that to me is a measure that I'm doing things in a healthy manner. Because in males, belly fat is a leading indicator of potential problems down the line. It just is. The more it collects in this area, you have circulation problems, you have nervous. It just is. It's just the science of it. So trying to do what you can from in this case a waste management standpoint, that's important to me. I don't know for each of you if spirituals things are important. And to me, spiritual's not just religion and going to church, but it's your spirit, it's your soul. It's things that make you feel good. It's how you help others, that kind of thing. Financial. I'm not a financial expert, but I do want to tell you this, that if you're carrying a lot of debt that becomes stressful for you to handle, you're not going to be the best leader you could be. You're just not going to be the best person you could be. Debt is one of the leading stressors in the world. It just is. So if you're carrying too much debt, and for each of you that may not be a problem right now, but as you graduate, watching credit cards, things can get out of control pretty darn quick. And if you're spending more than you make, and you're not able to pay bills, it's hard. And it's a hard thing to dig out of, and it can lead to depression and a lot of other things. When I see the amount of money that our government has in debt, that's mind-boggling. Almost $20 trillion. How does that even happen? And people still are not even talking about it by and large. That's amazing to me, and someday that bubble's going to pop, and it's going to be a bad economic situation. It just is. Because if that was an individual person or a family carrying that proportion of debt, there's no way to get out of it. It's going to be a disaster, and it's going to be some hard times to get through. So do what you can from a financial standpoint. Studies have shown in economies, they go up and they go down, but as soon as you get a full-time job, start investing money. Individual retirement accounts, things that are tax-free, which means you can put them in there. It doesn't count as part of your taxable income. Or it's something you don't get taxed on at the end, whatever the case might be. Start setting aside. The common thing is if you can in any way, if you can live on 70% of what you make, invest 10%, then 15%, and then donate 10%, you're going to be pretty well off if you can just continue that as a pattern throughout your life. But the financial piece is a big one. Again, I'm not an expert on investment vehicles and those kind of things, but it'll drag you down. It's a tough thing. Attitude. You guys both expressed that you don't like people with negative attitudes. So that's an expectation that you need to let your team know about is let them. I think defining words that you put on paper or put on a board is very important. That's why I asked the question, Ian, what does that mean to be aggressive? What does that mean to be negative? Well, I mean, it's what that means to you, because people, everyone's got their own brain, everyone interprets things differently. And aggressive, in I see aggressive and that, I'm thinking Ian doesn't want me to ever come up and punch him. That's what it means. But that's not what you said. Maybe you do want me to punch, I don't know. Maybe, you probably don't. So, in negative attitude, the same thing. I can see that and say, well, what does that mean? Because some people could say, it's not a negative attitude if I tell you about potential problems that a solution may have. But that's perceptions are reality, and there is value in that to a point, but defining it as you always complain, whatever it is, you got to define that for your team. So having that ability to define things. What do you want from your teachers? You guys are paying, I think tuition, but you're still paying. You're paying a lot of money to go to school. I don't know how you guys feel. I've always been a little, and a lot of it's on me because I didn't like the structure of the classroom, but there were some professors I thought were good, and there were some professors I thought were awful. And I just was, you have this perception of college, you think everyone's a brilliant scholar and they're going to impart this wisdom on me. And some did, and some didn't. And a lot of that was on me too. If it was a class I didn't like, I was just going to muddle through it. And the good thing is when you're out of college, you don't have to learn about things in that way. You can learn things that you want to learn about. So, what do you expect from teachers? What do you expect from leaders? So, a lot of the talk is about setting your expectations, but what do you expect from leaders? I have a sense of what you guys expect from the good trait, bad trait exercise that we've done in the last 2 weeks. But beyond that, it's Ian might want to know. I want you to explain the rec center budget to me someday. That's an expectation that he has that I'm not aware of yet. But what do you have as expectations for your leaders or your coaches? Work environment. What kind of work environment do you want to have? You want to have an energetic one, a positive one. If you remember, I mentioned one of my core values is solution-centered. I'm big on that. Yeah, bring problems. I want to hear about them. But let's also talk about solutions on how to make it better. Because if you don't have those discussions, and sometimes they're hard, if you don't have those discussions, it just stays the same or gets worse. And I guess nothing really stays the same. It either gets better or it gets worse. What do you expect from your co-collaborators? I don't know if each of you have done this in your group projects. You probably have both had group projects. You guys ever set expectations up front about conduct, meeting deadlines? Sometimes the professor will lay out how the group should interact. I think that's a big one. I think laying it out is so important. Angus McLeod and I are working on a children's book, and he's my illustrator. And some of the challenges I've had with that is I've not talked to Angus about my deadline. I didn't talk to him about my deadlines at first, because I did my part. My part was done, other than I just want to start seeing what he's doing. He's got the hard part. He's drawing, he's doing the illustrations, and he's not moving. Sometimes he's not moving at as quick a pace as I want. But I also, because I've talked to him about it several times, and I hear he tells me his expectations in terms of when he can do it based on his other schoolwork he's doing when he's working here. I understand it now, and that helps me get over my impatience with it. I still want it done. So we just keep saying, Angus, just let me know, I'm ready to go,
What's the book you're working on?
It's a leadership book about kids. So Angus is drawing, we've got 3 frogs that are the characters. It's pretty cool. Angus is really talented. He's really good. And then the last one, there's a lot of mixed messages about it, and again, I think knowing what the tool is important. and then utilizing the tool is something else altogether. More important than just knowing about it is setting goals. There's some people are saying, yep, set goals, set goals, set goals, set ambitious goals, give them dates, give them timelines, SMART goals is one that's thrown out a lot. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Some said, no, just focus on the process. Just have a vision and just focus on doing this step and this step and this step and this step. Whatever you call it, I think it's important to have a vision of what the end game looks like. And then at least defining what it takes to get there. So going back to these expectations, if you've got a financial thing, you start laying it out, start laying it out, start laying it out. If it's a fitness one, you start laying it out, start laying it out, start laying it out. And I've heard some people talk about not only, if you're going to set goals, write the goals down at least once a day or a couple times a day, because that gives you the energy and it keeps you focused on that. Because I don't know how you are, small things that pop up tend to bog me down, and then I lose sight of what this is. And then the day's gone, and I look at my paper and say, I didn't work on that at all today. And now it's 9:30 and I'm tired. So if you can write them down, it helps. If you can write things down, it just helps them keep them in front of your brain. You just start finding ways to get them done. So that's what I had from an expectation standpoint. Core values, set where you want to set the bar, and then just an idea on some categories of expectations that you can have. And certainly there's more. It's not an all-encompassing list, but just some things to think about there. All right. So, last thing I wanted to do today, it's kind of shifting a little bit differently. You guys have any questions?
Yeah.
So I want you guys to come up to the board. Think of a past leader in your experience. What were the good traits? Bad traits? And if you're not comfortable with names, that's okay. Just do initials. And then you don't have to say too much about it. So 4 things I want you to just come up to the board and just start writing. So a past leader, so think of that. What were their good traits? What were their bad traits? How they helped you? And what piece of their style will you take with you in your leadership roles? You guys can come up to the board and write. Whenever you're ready. And then as you're presenting it to me after you're going to tell me it as a story. Storytelling. Storytelling is powerful.
Story time.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready for story time.
I'm still thinking of my last name.
All right, go ahead.
So, it's gonna be hard to come up with a story, but so for story time, how would you like the story?
Question. So, I think one part of the story is describing what you wrote, and then maybe the other part of the story is an example
Okay.
of why this person had such influence on you.
Okay. So my person that had a good influence on me was my dad, and that he's good with handling situations, being able to be positive attitude, and keeping everyone on a task. So one example of keeping everyone on a task is when he was coaching here, trying to be able to have everyone focused on being the MAC champions in swimming. That was one that was really good for him. That he got his team on that task, trying to get them there and being able to help them get into a championship season team. And some of the I can only think of one bad thing that he had was communication sometimes. Because sometimes when he was here, he would get flustered with trying to write the schedule, write practices, and being able to get all that information into the aquatic side to be able to help with it. One thing I'm going to take away is his positivity and being able to show to have a smile on your face even when things are bad or good are going on. And example of that is kind of like what he got. Don't share that example, but he had a smile on his way all the way through all the years that he worked here, and he kept that smile going even if something bad happened, like with one of his swimmers getting hurt, and then always keep a smile and laugh. The styles that I'm going to try to take from him is having a positive attitude and being able to laugh at mistakes and being able to own up to it.
Good. That's really good. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, so I guess the person I thought of was the instructor I had last year. So I said good things were he was always enthusiastic and excited about working on things, and he was also almost always available to talk to or email or anything like that. I said bad kind of someone wasn't the best at communicating expectations or like doing things all that timely once in a while. But I'd say help maybe more you to work on things or be more interested in something. So I guess piece of style would be like stay enthusiastic or eager to be doing what I'm doing.
That's really good. So, just looking at a couple of things here, and I'm someone that I've studied leadership, so I'm always trying to get better at it. I do this kind of thing with people I come across all the time because you can learn, you can pull good, and you can pull, and it's not an egotistical thing to say, well, you're doing this wrong, and I'm going to do better than you. It's just we all have experiences, and we all want to do this. Hearing this example about your dad, I agree. He always smiling. He has the energy. Even now, when he comes in for swim meets, it's hey, how you doing, coach? Good to see you. And he's always really good. I would suspect. I'll just say here. I would suspect you mentioned that he felt overloaded with details.
Yep.
My observation was that your dad isn't a detail-oriented person with organizing, logistics, and those kind of things. And it's not a knock on him. We all have things we're good at,
And we have
things we're not. And I bet if he looks back on it now, could he have given that? Could he have set expectations, but had an assistant coach do more of those things to help him free up the time to do things he did exceptionally well. Maybe that would have given him more time to do the communication things with his athletes and those kind of things. And again, it's not a knock. We all have the things we're trying to improve on, and communication's always one. People always have a lot of different thoughts about communication from their leaders, and communication's always one. It's always, unless there's an ethical issue, it's always the number one thing cited about communication, and how it could be better. So, but again, the key point of this is, as you start observing leaders, understanding what makes them tick, where they struggle, it helps you. It's no different than, I love talking to older people about their lives and what they thought was great and what they have regrets about, because it gives me a chance. They're sharing those stories, and a lot of them will say, I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. These were things I just wish I would have done differently. And same thing here. Ian mentioned that, you both mentioned enthusiasm. Guys, people like enthusiasm. And it's not just rah, 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 we're the best. It's just showing engagement, being able to talk about things that interest them. They like to share it, they like to teach people it. And he was available. So correct me if I'm wrong, I think available, as I'm reading this, means he was available for you to talk to whenever you wanted, but he was also, you felt comfortable with his availability. You felt approachable with it. While this is a tricky one, and I'll talk about, I think I talked about leading up last week. You want to, whenever I see these kind of things, I just said that's always a very high thing that leaders get knocked on. But I think there's also a responsibility for followers. Followers is a very broad term. Teammate, whatever the words are. I think there's some responsibility on followers to clarify expectations too. And that's an expectation that I try and talk with the folks I work with is, if I'm not communicating something, please tell me, ask questions, tell me that you don't understand so I can help clarify, because I don't want that. I want to have a situation where you understand what I'm after and what we're trying to accomplish. So I like to talk about leading up as much as you can. That please, I feel comfortable leading up. I'm not going to smack you in the back of the head. I'm not going to say, just do it because I said that. It's the way I want it done. I want you to help me so we can have a good environment. I love this one. Good leaders make people more eager to get things done and to get better. Good coaches do that. Good leaders do that. And you identified again the piece of the style. These are things that you liked and you talked about. You probably thought in your head, I just wish if he had, is it he or she? I just wish if he would have done this, I could have got more out of this. If he had done this, I really would have grasped this a little bit more. So it's an ongoing thing, and I encourage you just to continue to watch things. When you see good ideas, write them down. There's power in writing things down. When you see things you don't like, write it down and understand and process it in your mind why. And it may not be something that was bad per se, but it may not be part of your personality. So you see someone that handles a discipline issue in their way, you say, well, I understand why they did it that way, but in my personality, I would have to do it this way and still get the message across that I want. So this is a good exercise, and I would think you're going to be doing this throughout your careers. It's just, and the fact that you've had so much information tells me you've already done it. You've already been watching people and trying to get more out of it. So good. Anything else? Ian, no words of wisdom or words of brilliance? It says I'm tired. I just want to go home.
I am a bit tired.
Thank you, guys. This was great.